Select Board meeting, December 13th, 2021. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can have a seat. Before we move on to the agenda, we have to acknowledge someone who has been by this board's side for years and has helped this board become what it has become and helped this town become what it has become. We get all the credit as members of the select board, but it's the people behind the scenes that do a lot of the work that we get the credit for. I assume Lynn has gone to go get the person that we're talking about.
She might be fixing the computer.
All right, so should I wait or? Jim McDonough, you may know this person. You may know this person. I mean.
It's in my neighborhood.
Yeah. She's been known to give you a hard time every now and then.
She left. She left already.
Did the smart thing, it took me to.
So,
She took off.
we are looking for Betty McDonough.
We found it.
You found it, okay.
good.
She heard Jim was gonna be here.
Yeah.
Coming in against
Probably wait till she-
protest.
Tell her to get in here. Jeez.
Jim.
There you
Jim.
Jim,
Jim.
Jim McDonough. Can you, Jim, could you escort that lady up to the front, please? Are you still an employee? Then yes. So, for those who don't know Betty McDonough, I'm sure there's not a lot of people who don't know her. Betty has been our backbone, our brain for the last, I don't know how many years. And she's been a very big contributor to this town, not only here, but when she worked at the Veterans Office. And we wouldn't be where we are today, and this town wouldn't be where it is today if we didn't have Betty.
I'm right.
So this is Betty's last select board meeting. She is retiring. So I'm sure that some of the board members have some words to say. So I'll start with Mr. Hogan, who worked with her at the Veterans Office.
Just one side note, Jim has often said this, when we were out just looking for you, he said, don't bother looking in the kitchen, she wouldn't know what it looked like if she did.
That Jim, not this Jim, that Jim. Get mad at that Jim.
Yeah, I had the great pleasure of working with Betty for 18 and a half years in the Veterans Office. And I know every veteran and spouse and family member, whoever came through the doors, always felt better knowing that she was the first person they saw coming into the office. So thank you for making me look better there too. There was also a list of committees that you worked for doing the minutes. There was what, 6 or 8 of them? Disability access, what are they?
Board of Health, Disability Access, Recreation, BCAT,
Library.
budget.
So she's had experience in every aspect of this town. So when the time came for her to come over here, it only made sense that the most qualified person should do it. And thankfully, the person who will replace Betty is the only qualified person who comes next, and she's got big shoes to fill, so
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Priest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, when Jim says that Betty's the backbone and brains,
She's the back.
yeah, her, not you.
That's right.
Her. That phrase doesn't cover it. I mean, texts on the weekend from her reminding us of things digitizing the backup so that we have it at any moment's notice, and it's not, waiting here in the office for us to come get it. I mean, her commitment to this role, to her time in this town has been beyond. And when we say, service to your community in ways that, we don't often think, I think of you, Betty. And, coming on, in my first term, you were nothing but helpful. You were always showing me what should be done, what needed to be done, and how to do it. And, I can't thank you enough for the short time I've had the chance to know you. But knowing that you've been here and knowing what you do behind the scenes made me feel better about how we service this town. And, we were rightly so quick to thank our police and our fire and our first responders, and without question. But for everyone who works at a desk in this building or one of the buildings next door, the amount of effort they do to ensure that we, as elected officials, can come in and have a 1 hour, 2 hour meeting on a bi-weekly basis is it can't be easily put into words. And so from the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you've done for this town.
Thank you, Nick.
Enjoy every day from here on forward, and expect many texts from us wondering what the hell it is we're doing without you. I know that Lynn will do a wonderful job. I'm not trying to downplay Lynn at all. Lynn will do an absolutely wonderful job. I know she will. But you will be greatly missed.
Mr. Morandi.
Thanks, Betty. No more.
That's all you wrote down?
It took all his time.
When you go last, there's nothing left to say. What are you gonna say?
You can say how mad you were when I abandoned you at the Board of Appeals. I went over to the Board of Selectmen.
Bring that up. So, I've been involved in this politics for 24 years, 22 years in the town. And I was on the Board of Appeals, and Betty was the secretary, and she left. It was the most devastating thing I've ever gone through. I'm like, what do you mean you're leaving? You can't go anymore. I'm gonna go up to higher office and this and that. I'm like, all right, so I said, what's my hope? Well, then I guess I have to run for selectman. So then I decided to run for selectman. So now I'm here, and I can tell you this. Nick's right. Nick's got a lot of great points. The text at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday night, hey, don't forget you got a meeting tomorrow morning. I'm like, seriously? Okay, thank you, Betty. And it's just, it doesn't stop. She doesn't stop. 11 o'clock at night, you get a text. 10 o'clock in the morning, you get a text. You got a meeting over here. You know what you should really do about this is you think about saying this and this could go in here and that. I'm like, why does she run for selectman? I think all the time. What am I doing? I said, I take more direction from Betty than I did from my 3 ex-wives. It's been great. But all I can say is this. You're leaving, when's your last day, Monday?
It would actually be the 23rd of December,
Okay.
Almost Christmas
When's
Eve.
Jimmy's last day?
same day.
Oh, you didn't make it like a week in between so you can enjoy yourself? Just 1 week in between? Betty, what can I say? I can sit here and joke and laugh. All these guys said all the things. You are. You truly are the backbone of this
Thank you.
town. You do so much that people will never understand and never know. Mr. Sagarino can say the same thing. There is so much that you do behind the scenes that this town will never, ever know. Lynn, good luck.
Sure, do great.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you
Thank you.
taught me.
Thank you, Mr. Morandi. Mr. Sagarino, did you want to chime in now, or are you gonna save?
Sure, I have a few words for now, and what can I say? Lynn and I are devastated with Betty leaving. We're very happy for her and Jim to be able to finally go and enjoy their retirement. Betty's been a lifesaver to me personally. She's the heart and soul of our office. I think you guys have all brought out about her work ethic. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Sundays, as you mentioned, 1 o'clock in the morning, emails, texts flying around. She's just incredible at what she does, and she's become a legitimate subject matter expert in a lot of the important things that we do here with the small cell, liquor licensing. I have stacks of appreciation emails from, members of the business community, attorneys, businesses, thanking us for Betty's professionalism and working with them through problems. That's the business end of things. More importantly, we're gonna miss Betty as a person in the office. it's like, for me, it's like having an extra mom around when it comes to, important stuff, about health or family. And she's just an amazing person to be around. And again, I've never seen anybody who works quite the way that she works. And we're hopeful that we can replace her with myself and Lynn and the folks that we have coming into the office. We're gonna have to work really hard to replace what Betty's done for the office all these years.
Thank you, Mr. Sagarino. And I'd also want to acknowledge Jim McDonough is retiring too. So, Jim, congratulations on your years of service.
Thank you.
But unfortunately, as it is with your wife, it's her night. All right?
He was gonna be happy because
Oh,
I'll have
I'm
the
not gonna
computer
see
and
laptops
papers.
open at 2 in the morning, like
Betty, do I dare open it up to Jim for comments? Oh, no. Lana, do you want to say anything? No, it's up to you.
Not right now.
Mr. Chairman, could
Yes.
Lynn just answer one question? What should we definitely not ever expect on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock from you?
You will not get a text or a phone call. I can promise you that. Never. No. I'm fast asleep by 10 o'clock. No worries.
Betty, on behalf of the board, behalf of the town of Burlington, we want to thank you for your years of service. Before we say congratulations, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I'm gonna miss you all terribly. It's like taking away something a lot, because what am I gonna do now?
What are we going to do now? Oh, we know.
Betty, you could still text them at 11 o'clock at night if you want.
Betty,
Jim would really appreciate you not doing that.
please join me in
I'm
thanking,
shooing people out of Paul's office, like these.
please join me in thanking Betty for her years of service to this board and to this town. So for the record, your husband did not stand up, just so you're aware.
Thanks a lot.
Not a problem. She's gonna watch it on BCAT anyway. Every time she's mad at you, she's gonna play BCAT and say, see, you didn't stand up for me.
Rich, you wanna do a picture?
Yeah.
With the board? Guys wanna do a picture?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are we
Betty,
going out there?
please come up here. We have,
It is but a small token of our appreciation that come around. Yeah, we'll go around.
Wanna go that way?
No, you don't need me. You want a picture. This is your picture. Your moment. Nice try.
Come on, get up here.
Yes.
Why not?
We'll Photoshop my name later.
I still have her for a few more weeks, so.
all right, as soon as we get everybody back.
We're still going. Not the end.
Set?
Go ahead.
All right, next item on the agenda. Item 338, appointment firefighter paramedic, Chief Patterson. I'm sorry, did I put, oh, I'm sorry, all right. 337, appointment to the Select Board, Town Administrator's Office, Administrative Assistant. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have an appointment for the Town Administrator Selectman's Office. In addition to Betty's retirement, we also are facing the retirement of another longtime employee, Sandra Madigan. And she also has big shoes to fill, despite being a very short woman. And, it's going to be a challenge to replace all that Sandy brings to the office. But we did have a very competitive process. We received 35 applications for the position. I think we screened over 13 initially, and then had a couple of rounds of interview for a top 3. And I can tell you that the person I wish to appoint tonight is Susan McEachran. Susan is a resident of the town. She grew up here. She spent the last 10 years working as an office manager for a physician's office and managed offices for several other medical type institutions here. She has an associate's degree from Middlesex in communications, which is something that we're always looking to improve upon, as well as a bachelor's degree from Suffolk in journalism. So I wish to appoint Susan McEachran to the position of Administrative Assistant 1 in the Burlington Select Board Town Administrator Office and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Okay, so
Second.
moved and seconded. All those in favor of waiving the 15-day waiting period?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 4-0-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Susan's
She here?
here. If you're-
Susan?
Awesome.
Come on up.
Come on down.
Congratulations, Susan.
Congrats. Welcome aboard.
We look forward to hearing you on a Sunday at 10 o'clock.
So tonight's a little preview of what you'll get 30 years from now. All set? Okay, item number 338, firefighter paramedic, Chief Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, we are looking to fill one vacancy within the Burlington Fire Department. As you all know, Burlington Fire is a civil service fire department. So when we have a vacancy, we call for a firefighter eligibility list. We received a paramedic list through a selective certification. Typically, what we do is after the candidates show their interest, we do a series of interviews with each candidate. We do a thorough background investigation on each candidate. Each candidate must successfully pass a medical and drug screening examination, and they must also pass a psychological examination. So the series of steps before they reach the floor of the Board of Selectmen. So tonight, I'd like to introduce John P. O'Leary Jr. to the board. John is currently a resident of Salem, Massachusetts. He's a graduate of Essex Technical High School in Danvers, Mass. John completed his paramedic program at EMTs, Inc., which is affiliated with Dean College. He's a national and state certified EMT paramedic. He's also certified in advanced cardiovascular life support, as well as pediatric advanced life support. He currently is employed at Cataldo Ambulance Service, which he serves as a paramedic. Prior to becoming a paramedic, he worked at Cataldo as an EMT. He's been with them since 2018. Through the process, we realized John is an outstanding young man. He's highly recommended by both current and former employers, as well as all references that we spoke to, many of which I will say are in the field of public safety. He comes from a family of public safety officers. John is scheduled to attend the Brookline Firefighting Academy this coming February. I'm pleased to present the name of John P. O'Leary Jr. for the appointment to the Burlington Fire Department, which would become effective this coming February when he begins the firefighting academy at Brookline.
Mr. Zagorino.
And with the chief's recommendation, I appoint John P. O'Leary Jr. To the position of firefighter paramedic in the Burlington Fire Department and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 4-0-0 to waive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Leary's here.
John?
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
I'll let you.
Okay, thanks.
Want a picture?
Just get a quick picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
you don't mind, you know how I like pictures. Excellent. All right. Yeah, I'll give you something.
Mr. Chairman, one quick comment.
Yes, Mr. Hogan.
When we sit here and listen to the backgrounds of all the individuals who come before us to get appointments to the fire or the police, you can always tell the commitment just by the list of things they've done before they even know that they have a position waiting for them. So it's great that Mr. O'Leary has such a background and has committed himself to learning about this career path that he's chosen. So thank you for that and congratulations.
Just one note, Mr. Chairman, usually we have a room full of firefighters at these appointments, but due to COVID acting up again, we made the decision that they'd be sitting at the stations watching this presentation, so.
Understood.
All right.
Mr. O'Leary, welcome aboard. As the chief said, normally with the police, the fire, DPW, this room is packed with people. You're coming to a great department. You're gonna be working for a great chief. We know pretty much all the firefighter paramedics that are there. It's a great department to work for, so I think you'll enjoy being here. Mr. Morandi, anything? No? Good. Nick?
Nothing for me.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is item 339, appointment to the Burlington Youth and Family Services Social Worker. Christine.
Christine is here.
Okay. I didn't see her behind the thing, so. Christine, would you come up here, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All yours.
So I'm here from Burlington Youth and Family Services to appoint a full-time social worker to the department. We've been attempting to fill this position for some time. We found the perfect candidate. I'd like to present David Langford, who currently is working at Riverside Community Care, a rather large organization, mental health organization, doing home-based family counseling. He was an intern at Youth and Family Services back in from 2016 to 2017, so he has come through our program. He knows us. We've done some training with him. He's done some training since leaving our organization and graduating in family therapy, so he's got a lot of experience and training in that regard. He'll be a great addition to our department. We're looking forward to having him join.
Thank you, Christine. Mr. Sagarino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And with Christine's recommendation, I appoint David L. Langford to the position of social worker in the Burlington Youth and Family Services Department and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of waiving?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? 400. Congratulations.
All set? All set? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine. It's a great night when we see all these new faces coming on board. It's really a good feeling. Okay, item 340 is the appointment of Inspector Myers. Mark, do you want to come forward?
Thank you, Honorable Board. Two comments first. What office did that woman work at that you guys were talking about?
What woman?
Keep it up, you'll get no's all night long.
I think we're gonna change the agenda and put you at item 357 now.
As the board realizes, Betty's husband has been the electrical inspector for many years in Burlington, and he's decided to retire, or Betty told him to retire, one or the other. I don't know what's quite true. So we've been looking for a new electrical inspector. We advertised, and we interviewed 3 great candidates. It actually turned out to be a harder decision than I anticipated to begin with. But Eric Sullivan did well in the interview. He's been the assistant inspector here for the past 5 to 6 years. He's also the assistant electrical inspector in the town of Barica. I've only known Eric since I've been here, and I find him very easy to work with. We get no complaints on him. He's a very respected electrician and electrical inspector, and I'm asking for your approval for his nomination to be appointed as the new electrical inspector for the town of Burlington.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Severino?
And with Mark's recommendation, I appoint Eric Sullivan to the position of Inspector of Wires in the Burlington Building Department, and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of waiving the 15-day waiting period?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? 4-0-0. Thank you. Welcome aboard, Eric.
Yeah, goodbye.
Congratulations.
Okay, Mark, while you're up here, item 341, discussion and approval of the fee structure, new and current fees for the building department.
Again, thank you, board. Thank you for taking the time to hear me this evening. The building department is proposing a modest fee to bring the town on level with surrounding communities. In regards to the building department request for permit fee increases, I would like to mention the following. Burlington has one of the lowest permit fee schedules in the area. Burlington's last fee increase was approximately June of 2013, in which consisted of only minor adjustments. There has been a vast increase in the median sale price of homes. Back in 2013, the median price was around $460,000. Today's median price is around $740,000. That's an increase of almost $300,000. The money spent on commercial renovations for new type of clients and tenants has increased as they are seeking more in-house amenities and finer finishes of spaces. Most of the surrounding towns in the attached fee survey have increased their fees in the last 2 years. Our proposed increase of approximately $3 per $1,000 of construction cost is modest at the most. This increase would bring us to the middle of the pack in the surrounding areas. The implementation would be on January 1, I got tongue-tied on how to say that, 2022, unless the board determines that a different date is reasonable. I respectfully request the board vote in favor of this request. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mark. Before we discuss this, Selectman Runyon, who's not here, had submitted a request, and it's in the record. It's in the agenda backup. Mr. Sagarino, did you want to discuss that request?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Mr. Chairman. Select Board Member Runyon, as you know, he's been the board's representative on the Housing Partnership, and their intention is to propose to the board that they would like some assistance with managing the town's affordable housing portfolio. And Select Board Member Runyon thought that this was a very good tie-in. He was requesting that the board consider increasing the residential building demolition fee. I think we had it on the schedule here to go from $100 to $200. And he would like the board to consider something more than that. He suggested $1,000. And what we can do then as the administration, when we work the Ways and Means process, we can identify the fact that, we raise this fee in order to try to cover some of the additional costs that are potentially associated with assistance to the housing partnership, professional assistance. And again, the tie-in is that somebody's knocking down an older affordable house to build a large, expensive house, that this would be part of the process to do so, and then that we would be able to increase our ability to fund some assistance for the housing partnership. So that was Mike's request to the board. He had a memo in the backup, so just wanted to put that out there for the board's consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Sagarino. I will start with Mr. Morandi. Any thoughts or questions on this?
No, we had a subcommittee meeting, myself and Bob Beck over here. It was it was quite the meeting. It went interesting. I had a lot of questions. They were all answered. A lot of stuff I didn't understand, and now I understand. I understand how different towns work their increases in prices and how they do everything. So myself and Bob sat down afterwards, and we come up with this increase in the fees. As far as mice goes, I don't know if there's something that we can do right now, or we want to wait and talk about that, or is that something?
We can do that, we can approve it with, if the board so desires, to approve the amended fees to include Mike's suggestion, we can do that tonight.
Or you could set it aside for a future meeting if you wish to as well, so.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, vote either, however you want to.
I personally like to set that one aside to see where it all goes and how it works. I don't completely understand it yet, and that's something I'd rather understand, and I probably should have asked questions, but I was tied up this week with other things, and I didn't ask any questions at all this week, so you have to excuse me for that. But I'm pretty happy with what we came up with, myself and Bob. Bob?
Thank you. Mr. Hogan?
Quick question, I didn't ask Mark or even Jim beforehand, so if you don't have the number, that's all right, but how many tear downs have we had in this past year or whenever?
I'd say rough ballpark 50.
Seems like more than that, but I'll take your word.
51.
That it?
That's it, yeah, yeah, Joe and I had the meeting, it went well, and there was no, I mean, we actually added a couple of bucks to it for what Mark requested. So I think it's a legitimate increase.
Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Paul. Paul, the additional, like, the $1,000, this is a $1,000 question. I'm fine with the overall increases. I think that's smart and keeping up with the times. Would we set aside like a separate account that we could drop? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, unfortunately, under the municipal finance laws, it'll all come in as building permit revenue.
Yeah.
But when we feel as though, as we enter the budget process for the upcoming year, and we consider the request of the housing partnership, we will be able to say, hey, on average, we've been averaging 30 to 51, tear downs a year. That could generate X amount in additional revenue that we could use to offset the cost of any additional professional services that they may require.
Sure.
So unfortunately, we can't directly link it together. We have to sort of keep them separate and then sort of discuss as we move that through the budget that we did increase a fee to offset that cost.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if we want to continue this conversation, I think that, we should wrap it into a larger, ways we can slow down the tear downs in town. Way too much rhyming happening there, and I apologize. I think that that's an effective way to create revenue for us to utilize down the road, but there have to be, 50 in a year, that's a lot, and I mean, I don't know. I'm all for, the way that the economy and the free market and, housing and society move and evolve and function, but I feel like we are throwing the baby out with the bathwater as we just tear down every single small home and build these massive homes that tower in neighborhoods. I don't know. Long story short, I'd like to further that conversation. I'm fine with not including it tonight's, motion, but definitely want to keep that conversation going.
Thank you, Mr. Priest. Mark, I have a question for you. If the board was approved, as it is in the backup, without the request of Mr. Runyon, logistically, is it difficult to approve everything amended tonight, everything as requested tonight, and then down the road, change that one fee? In other words, will that mess up a lot of paperwork?
No, that'd be fine. We could adjust that one fee at a different time and implement the date that you guys decide to implement it. It's not an issue.
All right.
I'm sorry, the date again that these are going into effect?
January 1?
Any other questions from the board? Any suggestions,
I'd like to
recommendations?
make a motion to approve the fees as written. for January 1st,
Minus the tear down.
minus the $1,000 tear down. I'd like to put that, like the table.
Mr. Chairman, may I suggest that you approve them as they are in the packet, which I think the demolition fee was slated to go from $100 to $200. Is that
Right.
correct, Mark?
Yep.
Yes.
It was, oh, let's approve that increase now, and then we can open up the demolition fee again
Down the road?
down the road, so that we don't, everything will
So,
be.
if I'm not mistaken, Joe, that the motion is to approve as requested
As
in the
requested,
backup.
for the group that we have right in front of us.
Okay.
I didn't include the $1,000.
Right.
Right, right.
So that's the motion that's been made. Is there a second to that motion? It's made and seconded. All those in favor of approving the recommendations, the fee recommendations as they are in the agenda and backup?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 400 to approve as they are in the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mark. Great, item 342 is Disabilities Access Commission use of handicap funds request. I see Mara is out there. Mara, are you gonna be presenting on this? Or is there somebody in-house that's gonna present?
It might be muted.
She's not muted, you can hear her, but you can't hear her not.
I know Mara's on, GAC.
Can you guys, I'm sorry, this is Mara Mazaka. Jim, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Mara, are
sorry.
you presenting on this?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, select board members. I'm here on behalf of the Disability Access Commission. We are requesting $4,392 for just seeking approval for $4,392 to offset the accessible accessible porta potties that the recreation department got this past summer for all the parks in town.
Is that it, Mara?
That's it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to
All right,
answer.
I'll start with Mr. Moretti. Any questions, comments? Mr. Priest?
No.
Mr. Hogan?
I have no question, but I just wanted to make sure that people know that the disability access has been supplemented for the handicap porta potties that are you see around town, other than the school properties, for many, many years now. So I'm in support of this also, so I have no questions.
I have no questions either, therefore, look for a motion on this.
I'll make the motion that we approve the $4,392 for the list of parks where the porta potties exist, how many there are, and for how long we have them for.
Second. And moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving this? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 400. You're all set, Mara.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Okay, item 343 is a continued public hearing, and it's looking to continue this to our January 10th, 2022 meeting on or after 6 PM. We have someone here?
Trish is on.
Oh, Trish, all right,
Upton.
all right, I thought this. Okay, all right, Andrew, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought I would let Attorney Farnsworth start because as the buyer, she's at the forefront of negotiations in the process. So if we could have her give a brief overview and I'll follow up with what we've got if you need it.
Okay, Attorney Farnsworth?
Sure. Yep. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, we did submit the letter, and we hope to have this lease. We're really down to the short strokes on the assignment of lease. And again, it's a little bit more complicated because it's not just the landlord. The current licensee is a party to it, so that's what's taking a little bit longer, that there's multiple parties, but we do see an end in sight, and so we hope to move this along. But you saw in my letter, my client's doing everything to keep things moving. We're going before, Attorney Vaughn is going before just to slightly amend the special permit. So that's really where we're at.
Hey, Mr. Upton?
We appreciate all the efforts of Attorney Farnsworth to keep this moving. And we are comfortable with the fact that the buyer has expended significant time and effort and funds on architectural work, on hiring Attorney Farnsworth, on hiring Attorney Vaughn. And that gives us confidence that this deal is going to go through.
Very good. Any discussion, or should we looking to continue this? Whatever your preference is, Mr. Chairman. So, Hogan, any,
No, continuing is fine.
okay, Mr. Priest?
Just one question.
Okay.
The license was renewed per the November timeline and,
Yes.
okay, so that's all.
Randy? All right, board doesn't have any further questions. Therefore, I'll be looking for continuance to January 10th, 2022, on or after 6 PM,
To 6:30.
It's on 6:30.
6:30?
Sorry, January 10th, you said?
January 10th, 2022, correct. So,
No moved.
all right, moved by Mr. Hogan, second by Mr. Randy. All those in favor of continuance to January 10th, 2022, on or after 6:30 PM?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 400 to continue.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
for your patience.
Hey, item 344 is a new public hearing. It's on the Burlington Wine and Spirits at 43 Middlesex Turnpike. We have the applicants here. We have to take a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, is there a
Second.
second? Okay, I'm moving the second to open it. All those in favor? Aye. Aye, opposed, abstained? All right, 400, the meeting is open.
Good evening.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I apologize. Does it need to be as, like, do we need the advertisement?
Yeah, we need to do the advertising.
Okay, I just wanted to.
All right. So it's as written in the advertisement?
Yes.
Correct. Thank you.
I'm making that motion that we approve the advertisement as it was printed.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Second to that. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 400. Okay, you're up.
Good evening, Attorney Catherine Flood here on behalf of Legendary Spirits LLC. With me tonight is Malavi Kang and her son, Kamara Kang. We're here tonight to request the transfer of the liquor license from Malavis Enterprises, Inc. to Legendary Spirits and request that Malavi be appointed manager. Malavi Kang currently has an interest in the liquor license held by Malavis Enterprises, Inc., and she has worked and been a part of Burlington Wine and Spirits since 1999. The transfer of the liquor license for Burlington Wine and Spirits to Malavi and/or Legendary Spirits LLC will be a transfer for zero consideration. It is similar to cash or another asset that's being transferred through a corporation. It's her share of the corporation. She is getting the license out of the corporation, and in turn, she formed her LLC to take ownership of it. Do you have any questions?
I'll start with the Alcohol Subcommittee. Mr. Hogan.
How often is this kind of transaction occur?
I'm not sure. We've had multiple conversations with the accountant, and the accountant said that if it's a transfer of the license out of the corporation, it's not a taxable. It's like getting a dividend or getting an asset of the corporation. I contacted the ABCC prior to filing here to ask them the correct manner to file, since there's no money being transferred. And they told me to file it with a letter from the accountant, like I did, and if the state is looking for more additional information later, they'll reach out to me. Since we
Right.
didn't have a purchase and sale, there's nothing. She is a shareholder now of Malavis Enterprises, and her share is the license, and she formed the entity.
Okay. In the course of the evening, in this discussion, Paul, I'm going to be asking whatever we decide that we could have our legal counsel give us a summary of this process, just so we know what we're talking about when we do make a motion.
Yes.
That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Mr. Morandi. Okay. Mr. Priest?
No questions from me, thank you.
Okay. Where this is a public hearing, is there anybody in the room that would like to talk about this or discuss this agenda item? Is there anybody in the WebEx that would like to discuss this agenda item? Not
Are
seeing
there
any?
no raised hands, Mr. Chairman?
All right, so I just want to get the logistics on this. Are we, if we, Mr. Hogan's request, it sounds to me like we're looking for town council's input on this.
Please, and
So
I would ask if there's no, well, even if there is an issue, I would like to hear from town council. That would be my motion, that we continue this and get town council to give us a summary. And Lynn, to this point, have you gotten all the paperwork that you need?
Yeah, so you did just mention something about her being the manager. She's the store manager or the LLC manager?
She's the LLC manager, and we would be requesting that since the license is being transferred to the new LLC, that she would be the manager on the liquor license also.
Okay, so, and she's not the current manager on the liquor license?
No, Victor is.
Okay, so I do not believe we have the change of manager paperwork completely turned in. From what I have in front of me, we only have the change of license, the transfer of license.
Okay.
Right.
So while we're getting that legal counsel, will you folks get in touch with Lynn and make sure that you guys have everything?
Yeah, I just need to make sure all that paperwork is submitted.
Sure.
So that can be separate of this.
Right, because it
approval,
requires
because-
two approvals.
Right, but we don't need a
Transfer
public hearing
and
for
the new
that. We
manager.
can just then submit that to you guys for your review, and then you can either approve, and then we could submit separately to the state. If this is gonna go forward or whatnot, it can be completely separate. We don't need a public
Well,
hearing.
was that a motion?
I'll make it as a motion that we continue, yes. Until, what's the next?
January 10th.
January 10th after 6:30.
Is there a second to continue the public, Mr. Morandi, second to continue the public hearing? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? So this is gonna be continued to January 10th, 2022, on or after 6:30 PM.
So that's the contact that you need to be friendly with. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'll contact you
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah.
and figure out what I need?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Very much.
item 345 is an update and approval and/or approval for the sidewalk reconfiguration of Peach Orchard, Pearl, and Winter. Mr. Hildreth? We are not able to hear you, Steve. Nope.
Nope.
Can the select board hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for the time, select board. I'll let Tom, I see him on camera, start, and then I have a presentation. If I can share the screen in time, I'll go through.
Certainly, Steve.
Good evening.
Hayes.
Tom Hayes, I'm the town engineer. And this, if you recall, we were in front of the board about a year ago, talking about this. It started off as a relatively simple project. We wanted to fill the gap on the sidewalk on Pearl Street from the town line down to Peach Orchard Road. We could not find a safe place to cross because of the configuration of the road, the curve there. We didn't have adequate sight distance. So we pushed forward a concept, and it was an awkward crossing. And the board asked us to go back and look at different alternatives. So in the interim, we had some other changes. Lucky enough to receive a grant project or the sidewalk over Terrace Hall Ave. So we shifted that money through town meeting over to this. So we can now build a sidewalk all the way from town line to town lines. We can go from Pearl Street, Winter Street, and then connect a crossing at Peach Orchard. So what we came up with, and I don't want Steve to steal too much of Steve's thunder, is a reconfiguration of the intersection to make it much safer, to have a crossing where we feel we have adequate sight distance. It's a much safer place to cross folks. So with that, I'll let Steve go through his presentation.
Steve?
All right. Can everyone see, can everyone hear me okay still?
Yes.
And can everyone see the PowerPoint that I have in front? First slide here.
We don't see the slideshow part of it, but we see the outline and all that stuff, yes.
Okay, all right. So you see like the first slide? Okay.
Yeah, if you want to hit the slideshow, then we could see the whole thing.
I should be sharing my screen.
No, I think we see the left side showing the pages as well. But that's good.
Okay, everybody can see it? Okay. So this I'll go back. So this is going to be the presentation here, as Tom said, for the Peach Orchard Road, Pearl Street, Winter Street reconfiguration of the sidewalk. This first slide here just shows a little bit of a locus map of our area. You see the box here in red.
We're not seeing it, you're not in slideshow mode.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we have somewhat of a,
If you press F5 there, Steve.
Yep, I should be running a full screen presentation now.
no,
Let me stop sharing for 1 second. Let me try sharing again.
Technical difficulties.
I apologize. I'm not in person. I'm just returning back from a day of vacation today. So,
Are you looking for sympathy from us?
not in the least bit. Anything now?
nope.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Hide your screen. Share. How about now?
Now we are.
Okay, sorry, had to change it around. Okay, so start from the beginning here. As I was saying, this is the presentation for the Peach Orchard Road, Pearl Street, Winter Street sidewalk reconfiguration. This slide shows just kind of the locus area here in the red box of where we're going to be working. Zoom in for everyone to see Pearl Street and Winter Street. Nice aerial. You got Peach Orchard Road. Are those coming in pretty readily, or are they a little bit delayed from what I'm saying?
No, we're seeing them okay.
Okay, all right. And you got Pearl Street and Winter Street. Because I have a lot of animation, I just don't want to get too far ahead if they're coming in delayed. So just gonna run through real quickly some of the original locations and like proposals that we had, just to jog everyone's memory. Our first sidewalk location was to extend the sidewalk you see here in the gray from Pearl Street, make your crossing shown in orange here, and connecting into the sidewalk on Pearl Street. We could not do this because a car traveling from Pearl Street to Winter would not safely be able to see someone in the crosswalk and stop in time. So needless to say, we could not go with this reconfiguration. The next one we can propose was to bump out Peach Orchard. You see that here in blue. What that would do would tee up the intersection a little bit better, allow for a safer sight distance between Winter, Pearl Street, and Peach Orchard. And then we would have connected the sidewalk, made a crossing where you could safely see a pedestrian in the crosswalk across Pearl Street, connect a new piece of sidewalk in front of number 130 Pearl Street, new crossing across Peach Orchard, and connect back into the existing sidewalk. However, and then create this little green space here. However, we did not want to do this because we did not feel that when the sidewalk at this time would have been connected to Winter Street on the Woburn line, anybody coming was going to stop, walk all the way past, and have to double back on themselves. So brings us to our latest rendition of this intersection, showing your existing conditions here. Currently, both Winter and Pearl Street are unstopped, unsignalized intersection, so you can free flow inhibit it as long as nobody's in front of you. And Peach Orchard Road is the only stopped leg of the intersection. Our current proposed intersection sidewalk is to take it from the one stop on Peach Orchard to a three-way. What it would do is you see here in pink, purple, the new outline of the edge of pavement. It takes that bump out and allows for, on Peach Orchard, we would shift it to Winter. That would safely tee up Winter Street into Peach Orchard and Pearl. You can see the new sidewalks shown here in gray, and then that would connect back into the existing sidewalk on Peach Orchard Road with the new crossing across Winter Street shown here in orange. And as I said, this would be a new three-way stop intersection with everyone approaching this intersection having to come to a full and complete stop before making whatever maneuver they are going to make. Also allowing for a pedestrian in the crosswalk to be seen by anyone coming up from Winter Street, Pearl Street, or Peach Orchard before they proceed through the crosswalk. We would adjust any driveway aprons as necessary for the houses that are impacted. And it would actually create the green space shown here by removing some additional asphalt that's existing in there, so we can give some nice green space back. In a quick conclusion, the proposed three-way stop intersection provides the safest configuration for both traffic and pedestrians. The new proposed alignment allows new sidewalk, creating pedestrian connectivity between the existing sidewalks in Woburn, on Pearl Street and Winter Street, and to the Peach Orchard Road sidewalk. And the project has the support of the Staff Traffic Advisory Committee, or STAC, and complies with the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices to meet a three-way stop. And I would like to thank our Traffic Safety Officer, Sergeant McDonough, and our Traffic Engineering Consultant, Stantec, for helping obtaining our field data for this process. And I open it to any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hildreth. I'll start with you, Joe. Any questions? Cost on this?
What we get approved for? Did we get approved?
Well, we had shifted $120,000 from the Terrace Hall sidewalk project. This in itself is really not significant, a little bit of reconfiguration for the current work. So the intersection itself is not all that expensive, but the sidewalk running from end to end, that's where the expense is.
I just want to say thanks to the guys. People don't understand how much work goes into this, just to move a sidewalk, just to put a sidewalk in and bring things around. So this has been going on for quite some time. So thank you and hope it passes.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Was there any consideration around putting in blinking lights of any kind? Not like just as, like the ones for when pedestrians are crossing? Because I mean, even still, people coming off of Pearl, they blow that stop sign, right? You know, I mean, this is a fantastic option. I was thinking about as we acclimate to this new intersection, or anything that would catch their attention.
Yeah, well, there's really no reason to add additional devices there. The way Steve has it designed is adequate sight distances on all approaches now. The three-way stop, originally I didn't feel it would meet the warrants on the MUTCD for a three-way stop. But after reviewing with the traffic committee, and Steve had Stantec out there doing traffic counts, and Jerry McDonough from the PD did a speed study. And actually the flow of traffic runs from Peach Orchard to Winter. And with the vertical and the horizontal curves out there, it doesn't meet the MUTCD as free flow traffic. So that's why it meets the warrants for a three-way stop. Otherwise, I mean, my feeling from, driving that, I thought Peach Orchard to Pearl would be the throughway, and then we would stop Winter. But the way it worked out, it's actually a much better design and stops everyone. It's much safer. And there's, in terms of sight distance, every approach. Now, if you're a pedestrian, if you're a vehicle, you'll be able to see someone in that crosswalk.
Awesome. I mean, like Joe said, this is great work. So thank you guys very much. It's very well thought out.
Thank you.
Mr. Hogan?
A couple of quick things, Tom and Steve. Will there be additional signage warning people that there are three-way stops up ahead or coming up, or whatever the terminology is?
Yeah, we spoke about that. We'd have to advance stop, stop ahead. And we probably off the get-go, because it's new, possible hang flags off that to bring it to people's attention, and maybe some additional barrels or chevrons for the initial, the initial opening for maybe a few months to get people to get used to the new configuration.
And will the work be done in 2022, and how long will it take to get it finished?
Yeah, 2022.
Yep.
It'll take, depending on when the contractor starts, it's not a lot of work. If you remember when we did Peach Orchard, that I think the contractor spent, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 weeks doing about a mile of road. So it depends on the contract, depends on his production.
One other thing I'd like to mention that I didn't say in the presentation was that we did hold a public hearing with the residents of the neighborhood back on December 13th. So we invited everyone that would be impacted by this area to come. I gave the same presentation to them. We had 4 residents of the neighborhood attend. Everyone was in good support of this project. So the residents know this. It's not going to be a surprise. We're going to go out there and start this work at the same time either.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That's great.
Set?
Yeah.
All right, I am a little disappointed we're not teeing off Peach Orchard Road, because to me, that wide right is an invitation for people to continue the way they're going to the right. I would like to have seen that. I'm not gonna say no because of it, but I know a physical barrier, teeing a roadway forces traffic to go slower and forces it to stop.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I can actually address that if that's okay.
Yes,
So the stop bar in this case is going to be moved back on Peach Orchard Road, further up the hill. And because of the geometric reconfiguration on Winter Street, it actually tees Peach Orchard up to the intersection. So even though there's no geometric reconfiguration on Peach Orchard, because of it on Pearl, it does tee it up.
it tees up at Winter, correct?
Yeah, if I could add
Tees
to
up
that.
with Winter and with Pearl, correct?
Yes, Mr. Hayes.
The bump out on the other side, on Winter Street side, to bring that forward is where we get our sight distance, because that curve, the curve going from Peach Orchard to Winter, that's where you lose sight distance left and right. So in order to have a pedestrians come out on that bump out, that was probably the only configuration we could do.
No, I understand it's, pedestrian safety is the most important thing here. Like I said, I just was hoping that we would have teed it only because it's a physical barrier that requires people to slow down, but if this is the safest option, I'm not gonna say no to it. Mr. Hogan?
Quick question, that, where the bump out is that town property now?
Yes.
Yes.
So no one's gonna build a fence or anything, because recently we've had a couple of fences go up where it makes it difficult to come to a stop and then not roll out into the intersection to see what's coming. So I hope that always stays clear. Thank you.
Actually, I just want to follow up on that. Will that be grassed? Because the town would have to maintain that for the site distances, correct?
Well, yeah, I think with any area, we don't maintain the grass, we don't cut the grass. But if trees grow up or brush grows up, the DPW will send out the boom flail and cut it back so we have adequate sight distance. And we do get calls. Occasionally we have calls where, people can't see around trees or can't see around corners. And that's the only solution is to cut the brush down to, a reasonable height.
And a lot of times too, with new additions of like green space in front of a house, it's an opportunity for the residents to take advantage and kind of maintain that area on their own. We would not allow plantings or anything, but at least maintain the grass to kind of beautify their property at the same time.
Anything further from the board? If there being none, I'll be looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve sidewalk reconfiguration of Peach Orchard Road, Pearl Street, Winter Street.
Okay, motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, made and seconded. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Those abstained? 400.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, everyone on the board, for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Item 346 is discussion for the committee for the semi-centennial celebration. Mr. Capola, can you come forward? Just for the record, this is regarding the committee. I know you have a lot of events planned. This is just for the formation of the committee.
Would you like a presentation?
Yeah, well, a Reader's Digest version.
The town is coming up on its 225th anniversary in a couple of years, and the country is coming up on its 250th anniversary in 2026. It was you weren't around at the time, but in 1976, it was a very large, multi-year national celebration. And in 2016, Congress recognized that and created the Semi-Quincentennial Commission to prepare for the celebration of 2026. So what the Historical Commission has requested is that the town put a committee together to start preparing for that and be in a position to pursue grants or whatever and get some activities done before 2026. And that's what you are here to discuss tonight.
Mr. Hogan, I'll start with you.
Having been a part of the bicentennial, it's quick how, well, it's interesting how quick a couple of
50
years
years?
can go by. And having worked on a couple of those projects, we needed all of that time to organize it, because this isn't just a little gathering. It's gonna be a year-long event. The bicentennial, it was done by month, there was months, themes, and, so first of all, I support this. But as we move down the road to approve a committee, I think we need to have a meeting before we actually approve a list of the committee as to what we're looking for with the historical commission and ourselves, and just sit down and make the list of what we're talking about and what we're looking for. Because I absolutely agree, we need the time. I know when Phil first came to this board, not us, but who was sitting here at the time, to talk about the bicentennial for 1999, there was a lot of work to do. And I think that was a 5 or 6 year lead time for that also. So, yeah, I'm in on it, but I would like us to sit down with historical and whoever else, like Phil or anybody else who was involved with the bicentennial, to come and sit here and just kind of lay it out so we can start taking official votes on what we're talking about.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Mr. Priest?
Yes. It's a lot, right? We have to plan to plan.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think that we just need to, put all our heads together and figure out what needs to happen and, make sure the plan is as thought out as possible so we can tackle it step by step. I mean, I don't know how big the committee was 25 years ago when we did it last time, but I imagine it was pretty hardy.
Well, there were multiple committees.
That was the town's 200, not the nation's.
That's what, I'm sorry, yes,
Right.
our bicentennial, yeah. But yeah, there is there's a lot involved. There's gonna be a lot of money coming in and going out, a lot of volunteers, a lot of things being discussed, and there needs to be a gathering of all of this information, so this hand knows what this hand is doing.
Yep.
Mr. Miranda, anything? Pete, have you come up with like a framework for who you want on this committee? In other words, do you have an idea of what you're looking for?
What we know is we need leadership who can just make phone calls and make things happen. And, and just to give you an example, just looking at trying to create a Native American specimen garden over in the meadow, we've been trying for 4 months to get in touch with a Native American organization to work with us. And we've been able finally to identify what tribe was in Burlington at the time, was the, just forgot of it, the praying Indians, Ponkapogs. And now we're trying to get them to just return phone calls and talk to us. So if we had somebody in a leadership position in the town who could just make a phone call and say, I am calling from, they'll return the phone calls. Whereas if we just, Historical Commission, thank you very much.
Well, I know you're gonna have a lot of volunteers on this, but from the town side,
We need leadership, either elected officials, town staff.
well, that's what I'm asking you. I assume rec department, I assume,
Yes.
so can you kind of get that?
Well, that's what we need to do. We
Organized.
need to sit
That's
down.
that's part of the planning for the planning. I mean,
All
if I had my way, I'm right there, there's my chairman. And end it, but, like Bob said, we need to sit down.
So we're gonna form probably a subcommittee to work with you guys, but just start to draw the blueprint for this committee, so, and I'm sure obviously it's gonna change, you're gonna add people, take people off, but just so we have an idea of, because we're gonna have to involve staff, we're gonna have to involve town organizations, we just wanna make sure that, we do our due diligence, get what you need and what the committee needs, so.
And we are getting the word out, and I'm meeting next week, a couple of us are meeting with the Recreation Commission at the January meeting to discuss their involvement. So we are kind of working our way through, so I could give you some idea, but
All right.
again, it's like Bob said, we have to have a subcommittee.
Right, and I think Mr. Runyon is the liaison, correct, to this
Yes,
historical?
yes.
So I'm sure he'll want in on this, and we'll probably need one from the board to work on this.
Yep.
But you'll get our cooperation, I know that. I don't know if we'll be calling different groups, I can't say that, but we'll get our subcommittee to the subcommittee going.
Well, and I do think once you appoint a committee and that, and the word gets out, then there'll be, people will be coming to us.
Right.
As opposed to, I mean, right, well, you got a few crowd here, I don't wanna hold up everybody else who wants to speak on the agenda tonight, but, just some of the things that came up tonight. 30 to 50 buildings, houses getting demolished every year. It would be nice if the historical commission got a phone call just to go walk the site before it gets demolished. We've asked realtors to work with us, not happening. But if we have a committee and you say, hey, realtors, you know, give us a call before you do that, then suddenly we're saving artifacts that would get thrown into the rubbish.
Okay. All right, so we will work on it from our end. We'll form.
Mr. Chairman, may I make an official a motion that we come back together at our January 10th meeting with lists or ideas for a very brief discussion to then sit down with subcommittee to move forward, but come back with stuff that people can look at on an agenda, whatever that might be.
You mean
I
things
think-
like what we'd like to see done or accomplished, or things, or who we'd like to see on the commission?
I don't even know if we'd be ready to say what we want to have done.
Bob, I think that's a great idea to continue it, but I don't want to put it specific to a specific meeting, because it's not, we have time, a little bit of time on this, so, yes, I think we should continue it to get that information as Bob suggested. I just wouldn't want to lock us into the January 10th meeting, that's my only concern. So,
When would you like to see it, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I think Mike and I can come back in January and give you some kind of
you think
status
so?
anyway.
All right, well then, we can continue it then.
Okay.
But we don't have to make an official continuance, we can just put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so plan on that after the holidays or whatever, but January we'll reconvene and get step 2 going here, so.
Okay.
But it's in the works, Pete.
The ball is now pushed down the hill. Thank you.
4-year help, all right, thank you. Okay, item 347 is approval for the AMC Theaters, additional hours. I don't know if anybody from AMC is here or out on the WebEx. If not, I know we got the recommendation of,
Yeah, I'm not sure who he is.
yeah, anybody out on the WebEx representing AMC?
I don't know who Ryan is. He could be the only possibility.
I know the town departments were consulted and nobody had an issue with this. So I guess I can give a synopsis, Mr. Chairman. AMC has requested for the opening of the Spider-Man movie due to the timing.
That they be allowed to, the board's current regulations require that everybody out of the building by 1. And what they're requesting for December 16th through 18th is to have permission for everybody to be out of the building by 2. In that way that they could properly seat people for 10 o'clock showings. I guess it's gonna be a big deal around Christmas time. It doesn't change the serving hours. They'll still only be able to serve till 12:30 a.m. as last call. And it's just a request to give them more time to show the movie and get people out of the building. They typically have a detail on the weekend.
He is with AMC.
Ryan,
I'm trying to get him to talk.
Ryan,
Ryan, are you with us?
He's having mic issues.
Okay. I think Mr. Sagarino's doing a wonderful job, so your job's in jeopardy.
Neither the police department or the fire department had any issue with the request, and I believe that AMC was looking at having a detail on the 16th as well, which they normally would not be required to have.
I know we've done this in the past too, when they've had movie releases, we've allowed them to go late in the past.
Yes, we have.
Something out of the ordinary. Does
And
anybody?
I don't think we've had any issues over the years.
No.
when We've done it either.
None that I'm aware of, Mr. Hogan.
Anybody here want to comment or have a question?
Just make a quick comment to them.
Sure, Mr.
AMC's been a good neighbor of Burlington. They've done a lot for us. Everything we've asked for, they've done. I see no reason why we shouldn't allow them to keep this going for a couple hours, just so people can get up and watch a movie, try to get back to a normal lifestyle by watching movies. Like Mr. Segarino said, the alcohol will still be the alcohol. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Second.
With just the caveat that whatever we had for details, police details in the past would be the number we would expect this time also.
Maintain the same number of details. All right, so the motion's been made and seconded to approve with the condition that they maintain the police detail as they have in the past. Yep, that's the motion. It's been made, seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Opposed,
Opposed,
abstained? 400. Item 348 is an update on automatic increase in number of liquor licenses. Mr. Sagarino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just an update to the board that based upon the new census numbers for 2020, that the board, that the town was awarded 3 additional all liquor licenses, just by the way the statute is written based upon population, and it's, we're trying to figure out the formula. It's a little bit trickier than it sounds, but at the end of the day, we get 3 more all alcohol licenses and then 1 each of beer and wine. What's the other one, Lynn?
Wine and malt.
Wine and malt.
And the,
Package store wine and malt.
wine and malt. Yes.
So there's 6 additional licenses, 3 all alcohol that can go anywhere in the town. So it's just an update for the board.
Okay.
Just to know that we have those additional licenses, just based upon the state formula for allowing licenses. So no additional approvals are needed from the legislature or anything like that.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Sagarino.
But what's the effective date on that, Paul?
Geez, I have the memo right here.
We've already changed them, so, October 5th is when they issued, October 5th of 2021 was when they issued the notice to us.
Okay,
So we've made the changes on our current list.
okay.
Any other questions? No? All right. Item number 349 is approval of the annual renewal of licenses. We've had these in our packet. We've had, a chance to review them. This is the same ones we review every year. I know this group has reviewed and approved them in the past. So unless anybody has an objection or wants to take one of these, or one or more of these individually, I'm putting this out there to see if we can approve these as a group, unless someone wants to approve them individually, or 1 or 2, or, any of them individually.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
could.
Yes.
I know that we are the ones who have the authority to approve or not approve, but it's the work that's done in the office by the staff with all the paperwork that comes in. Lynn, have you guys received anything that stands out, and have you received everything that you were supposed to?
Liquor licenses, yes. I believe there's a few of the other that have not been. She was going to highlight them. We had a few non-payments. They made payment today for past due taxes. I believe Class 2, there was a few extra vehicles. That was, they were going to be looked at again. I'm not sure that the police department has gone down, so there was a recommendation to just make sure that when their license was being renewed, we just made note that they're holding to the conditions that they were approved for.
Paul, since this is our only meeting before the end of the year, can we make a blanket motion to approve the list as it exists with clarification once we go back into the office in the next couple of days? And if someone hasn't paid their fees or their taxes or gotten the right paperwork by the 31st, they will then get a letter that they have not gotten approval.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Bob. Otherwise, we could call them in on January 10th if they're out of compliance with any of the requirements of the licenses.
I would expect that that would be the case anyways, but that doesn't mean that they can't do business for those 10 days?
I think it would mean that they could do business for those 10 days.
For those 10 days?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then let's do that also then.
All right.
Okay,
So
that's
is
my
that a motion?
Yeah.
Is there a second to Mr. Hogan's motion?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving Mr. Hogan's motion as a group, as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 400. Item number 350 is the indexing of the January town meeting articles, warrant articles. This is not approval of the articles in and of themselves. This is approval to get them on the warrant. We have a list of them. It's the index of articles. So we're looking to approve this index of articles for the January 24th, 2022 meeting.
Mr. Chairman, you want to do them all at once, or we're doing individual?
We can approve them all at once as an index of articles.
So I'll make a motion to approve them all at once.
Okay,
I
is
mean,
there-
we do it every year, so. it's
Right.
no
And then we'll have a chance to
discussion.
review them.
Yes, January 10th, you'll be able to provide a vote in favor or against any of the individual articles so that we could present that to town meeting.
This is to get them on the warrant.
Correct.
All right, so Mr. Morandi made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 400 for the indexing. Item 351, Select Board meeting dates, 2022. Does this require an approval or just an update?
But we just want the board to review it, see if there's anything that jumps out at you as a conflict.
Okay.
We tried to match it up as best we could with the future of holidays and whatnot, and it's a little bit uneven, like it is every year, but for the most part, it's the same structure as your guys, as the board has always done for meetings. Generally, every 2 weeks or so, with the exception of a couple of months.
Okay, anyone want to discuss this? All right, seeing none, we don't need to approve it. Thank you for doing this. Item 352, review of the minutes. We have regular meeting on October 4th, 2021, executive session meetings, 3 from 2019, 2 from 2020, and 1 from 2021. We can approve these as a group unless someone wants to discuss or vote one separately.
Make a motion to approve as one.
Okay, motion's been made to approve the meetings, the minute meetings of the regular meeting of 10/4/21, executive session meeting minutes of 8/12/19, 9/9/19, 9/23/19, 8/26/20, 11/16/20, and 1/20/21. So that's the motion has been made. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Hogan. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. Subcommittee reports. Mr. Randy?
I really don't have a subcommittee report, but I do have something I'd like to say real quick.
Certainly.
I mean, everyone in town seems to understand that I lost my father last week. Great guy. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I have to thank the town. I have to thank everyone in this office. Everyone that I know that has been a friend or a family member in this town reached out to me at some point or another. The Board of Selectmen was outstanding to me. The office was outstanding. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you to everybody in town. Rich, thank you for your message. It was great. I couldn't believe the outpour from my father, so just thank you. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I have to actually say thank you to everybody. It was great.
It's a great tribute to you. Okay, Mr. Hogan?
I don't have an official subcommittee report, but I've been telling a lot of people for the last 6 or 8 months, and I'll just say it here, that I will not be seeking re-election this April. I know I've talked to a number of people, a lot of people, and I will be giving a formal letter to the press. And it's been 12 years, and it's time. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Mr. Priest?
All I wanted to say was that I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe holiday season. And if you've already celebrated your holiday, that it was wonderful and you had time to recharge with family and friends. I'm very much looking forward to going into 22 with positivity and open mind after what feels like forever. I feel like we're finally starting to break loose of, this pandemic a little bit, and I'm very much looking forward to next year, so.
Well, I may say you look very festive with your bow tie on.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, my daughter picked this up for me, so.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mr. Priest. I just want to acknowledge the passing of longtime town meeting member Ann Rowe. She's one of Burlington's original town meeting members back in 1972. You know, I was on town meeting with her, and I didn't always agree with everything she said, and she obviously didn't agree with everything I said, but that's why we have representative town meeting. But Ann always made you think. She always brought up a point or said something that made you think about it, and go the extra step. So, you know, the town lost a big person in our history, with regards to town meeting in Ann Rowe. And I also want to thank the rec department, for the outstanding job of the town common. I was there for the tree lighting, and it was phenomenal. Fireworks, it was probably the largest crowd I've seen in years. Everyone seemed to have a good time, and I get comments all the time about how great our common looks. Just go to the Burlington Common, it's phenomenal. Again, just to echo what Nick said, I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday. If you already had your holiday, hope it was happy for you. And with that, I'll turn to Mr. Sagarino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple of items. I also want to acknowledge the Recreation Department for the wonderful tree lighting event. I love the way the common looks. It's one of the only good things about it getting dark early is driving home and being able to see how beautiful the common looks with all those lights out there. So I think it was just a spectacular job. Somewhat of bad news here. We did receive an email from Eversource and I just wanted to put our residents on alert, that they did receive approval to increase their rates from their regulators, and they're anticipating that an average electrical user, electric bill may rise by 25% in this upcoming year. So if you need some ideas on how to save energy, please reference the Eversource website, and hopefully I sent it over to Rich. Maybe we can get something on BCAT just to give the residents a heads up. That's a pretty substantial increase, 25% on the bill. And, you know, we just want to get the word out as best we can on that so that people can take steps to conserve or, you know, put in LEDs or whatever things that they can do to sort of save energy, I think would benefit at this point. And lastly, I just want to point out, DPW is ready for snow and ice removal. We have not had the ability to attract contractors like we have in previous years. This has been a problem that we've seen come in over the past few years. You probably notice driving through any community that there's signs requesting snowplow contractors. We just can't get them, part of the labor shortage. But I will say the good news is that, you know, several years ago, Public Works came up with a plan. The board supported that. Ways and Means and Town Meeting also supported it. To be able to have enough equipment to remove the snow with our own troops. So with our own personnel, we will be able to handle just about any storm that comes in. We'll just ask for the residents to be patient. We may not be as quick as we used to. One of the things that the contractors gave us was the ability to get things done a little bit quicker. And Burlington, like all the other towns, we won't have as much personnel available to do the snow and ice, but due to the great efforts of Public Works and being very forward-thinking, we are equipped to handle any snowstorm ourselves at this point. It just may take us a little bit longer than it has in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sagarino.
Thank you, Paul.
Any old or new business? None? Citizens' time. Doesn't look like there's anybody in the room, so I'll go out to the WebEx. Anybody here for citizens' time? Anybody?
No one on.
No one on there.
Just us.
All right, that being the case, motion's been made to adjourn. Is it second?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? 4-0-0.